What do a cartoon dog, a cup of coffee, and a burning room teach us about coping with the apocalypse? And why did the internet choose that exact moment to laugh? Welcome to Unboxd Origins. I'm Howie, your resident science geek and accidental trivia sponge.
And I'm Wyatt. I ask the big questions. Sometimes philosophical, often skeptical, always curious.
Today, we're digging into how did "this is fine" become a meme for chaos? Let's start at the source. In January 2013, a strip titled On Fire in cartoonist K.C. Green's webcomic Gun Show included a short sequence, a small anthropomorphized dog sitting at a table, clutching a mug as his surroundings combust. For many of us, the image we remember is the cropped two-panel moment, the dog saying, "This is fine," while fire licks the room. That clip-perfect juxtaposition, placid acceptance against obvious disaster, is the packaging that made it instantly memeable. Webcomics were already a fertile ground for shareable art, and the early 2010s internet loved bite-sized, reusable visuals that captured moods. Uploads, reposts, cropping, and captioning turned that brief comic beat into an emotional template, a compact picture that says, "I feel this," without needing many words. From there, the meme accelerated. Tumblr users remixed it into reaction images. Redditors posted it to comment on everything from bad dates to political fiascos. Twitter turned it into reaction GIFs and an instantly recognizable shorthand. Because the original has clean lines, limited text, and a universal expression, people could slap new captions on it, animate it, or loop it into short video clips. The result? A distributed, rapid-fire adoption. It migrated across platforms and languages. That portability is crucial. The meme didn't just represent one kind of failure. It became a template people could use to mock small daily disasters, institutional collapse, or the slow-moving catastrophes we stubbornly pretend aren't happening. When a meme fits many contexts and is easy to edit, it becomes currency for cultural commentary. There's also a mechanics and psychology combo that explains why "this is fine" stuck where other comics faded. First, human brains love incongruity, a mismatch between expectation and reality. The dog's mellow acceptance contradicts the visual evidence of disaster, and that jolt produces humor. Second, the meme performs a social function. It's a shorthand for shared anxiety. Saying "this is fine" undercuts your fear with comedy, allowing you to signal both awareness of the problem and a kind of ironic detachment. Third, technological affordances mattered. GIF creation tools, meme generators, and social platforms that reward short, emotionally intelligible content allowed this image to be repurposed quickly. Finally, the broader cultural moment. The decade's rising sense of chronic crises, from politics to climate anxieties and an always-on job culture, made a resigned, humorous reaction feel oddly cathartic. The meme didn't invent the feeling. It gave it an efficient, repeatable face.
Aha! Here's the twist most people miss. The meme's power comes from its ambiguity between denial and complicity. On the surface, it's a joke about being calmly overwhelmed. But in a deeper sense, using it can be a quietly political act. When an institution is failing and someone shares the dog sipping coffee, they're not only expressing anxiety, they're sometimes pointing a finger. The dog's calmness can signal resignation, yes, but it can also signal a provocative indictment. Look how absurdly we normalize disaster. The original comic, when read in full, pushes past that gentle shrug into something darker. The joke isn't just that things are going wrong. It's that we, as individuals or societies, often enable those things by refusing to act. That layered meaning is why the meme gets repurposed for everything from personal meltdown to climate inaction. When people paste the panel over footage of political chaos, they're blending humor with moral accusation. The meme's ambiguity lets it be either a coping mechanism or a critique, and sometimes both at once.
Building on that, the meme's life cycle also shows how internet culture turns art into a living language. After the initial spread, the image spawned edits, the dog wearing gear. versions where the flames are labeled, student loans, global warming, etc., and mashups with current events. Creators and companies even tried to monetize the iconography. Printed shirts, mugs, and stickers appeared, and derivative GIFs showed up in reaction packs. That commercialization sparked debates about ownership and intent. Casey Green has commented on and sometimes expressed frustration over how the image was used. Creators often find their nuanced work reduced to a single mood. In parallel, the meme evolved into shorthand for a particular posture toward catastrophe, either resigned acceptance, performative irony, or a call to acknowledge systemic failure. Its staying power lies in that multivalence. It's simultaneously funny, bleak, and morally flexible.
The other aha I want to flag is less about the meme and more about us. Sharing this picture repeatedly is a cultural coping mechanism for crisis fatigue. The internet smothers us with small, testy disasters, one dramatic headline after another. And "this is fine" functions like a pressure valve. It's shorthand therapy. We laugh, we share, briefly relieve tension, then move on. But there's a paradox embedded there. If every major failure gets its own "this is fine" moment, we risk normalizing crisis until activism and accountability are drowned in memes. The image's humor buys us short-term psychological comfort while sometimes deflecting long-term problem-solving. That's not an accusation against individuals. Humor is a survival tool, but it does show how cultural artifacts can both illuminate and anesthetize. The comic invites us to hold that tension. We recognize the absurdity and we laugh. But we also must ask whether laughter is disguising complicity.
So what does the "this is fine" story tell us about meme culture at large? First, memetic success isn't purely about art quality. It's about adaptability, timing, and social resonance. A simple, emotionally clear image launched at a moment of collective anxiety finds purchase. Second, memes are conversations, not static objects. Every time someone remixes the panel, swapping labels, changing colors, animating it, they're contributing to a living commentary on the state of things. Third, the meme shows how internet communities negotiate meaning. Some users treat it as cathartic humor, others as protest, and others still as brandable merchandise. That multiplicity is both the meme's strength and its weakness. It can unite a disparate set of reactions under one visual cue, but it can also flatten complex sentiment into a single ironic shrug. Practically, the meme's persistence matters because cultural shorthand shapes public discourse. When activists apply the panel to climate change, they use it to highlight absurdity. How can we sip coffee while the house burns? When late-night comics use it for political gaffes, they compress outrage into a micro moment. When burnout culture adopts it to caption a coworker's meltdown, it communicates solidarity. I see you, I feel you. All these uses demonstrate how modern communication favors snap judgments, but also how those snap judgments can carry real emotional truth. The "this is fine" meme became so ubiquitous because it hits a nerve. We live in a world with too much catastrophe and too few ritual responses. The meme provides a ritual, a shared exhale, a collective smirk, a way to say, we're all here, trying to cope.
And finally, the story of the meme encourages a reflective habit. We can admire the comic craft that birthed that iconic image. We can enjoy the shared laugh. And we can also interrogate what the image does in the wild. Does it encourage inertia or call for action? The same meme can be two things at once, a balm and a spotlight. Recognizing that duality is important because it turns passive circulation into a more intentional conversation. If we keep reusing the panel without thought, it becomes wallpaper, comforting, familiar, and ultimately numbing. If we use it as a starting point to ask, why is this burning? And what could we do differently? then the meme keeps its ironic edge and becomes a small spur toward accountability.
To wrap up, why does this matter beyond internet trivia? Because memes are culture in miniature. They condense feelings, norms, and critiques into units we can pass around like digital chapsticks. The "This is fine" dog became a cultural touchstone because it efficiently expresses a very 21st century emotion, resigned but amused anxiety. It teaches us how humor shapes our responses to ongoing threat, how communities build meaning together, and how art can be both uproariously funny and painfully precise about the human condition. The more we understand where these symbols come from, the better we can use or resist them intentionally.
And as for the deeper takeaway, knowing the comic's origin and seeing how it oscillates between denial and indictment gives us a choice. We can use the image to lighten a moment and connect over shared stress, which is valuable. Or we can let it become a ritualized shrug that masks inaction. Recognizing that split gives us the chance to do either with awareness. Cultural shorthand like this both comforts and challenges us. How we respond says as much about our society as the image itself.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into a single, deceptively simple meme, like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who's sipping coffee while their room metaphorically burns.
So, how did "This is fine" become a meme for chaos? It happened because a tiny piece of art captured a big, ambivalent feeling. And the internet, for better or worse, made it the universal shrug for living through fire.